What's going on, guys? My name's Theoatrix and welcome to my updated combat guide. In old school, combat is always changing, with new equipment and new ways to train. With Sailing's release, the new Bell's Folly provides a stab equivalent to the zombie axe, and Sailing brought a range of new combat methods, including frost dragons and griffins. And since my last guide, Jagex introduced a number of new items, including the Avernic Treads from Doom, the Oathplate armor set from Yama, and some mechanics were changed, like halberds now being effective at Armadil or Zulrah, or the new Golem Bane effects. Last but not least, Jagex also introduced the Gemstone Crab, which provides 10 minutes of AFK combat training. Over the last few years, a broad range of bosses were added to the game, and all three combat styles benefit. But in this guide, I'm covering melee combat, so attack, strength, and defense. But if you would like to learn about ranged or magic, there's a link to those guides in the description below. There are hundreds of reasons to train your melee in old school. I mentioned a wide range of new bosses. Well, these include the Royal Titans, Amoxalatl, Araxor, and Perilous Moons, where all of those bosses can be defeated with melee. If you ever want to get into bossing, you need to train your combats, and all three raids require melee to be effective. The melee attack style also has a broad range of use in PvP, with strong weaponry and special attacks. In PvP, with all the new armor and gear, the max hit with an AGS is now 88 in one hit splat. Your attack, strength, and defense level, and your combat bonuses all influence your effectiveness in combat. Leveling your attack increases how often you hit, so your accuracy, and it additionally unlocks better weaponry. Comparing levels 1 to 99 attack, your accuracy usually at least doubles. In your equipment stats interface, you can view your attack bonuses, and this mostly comes from your weapon, but certain pieces of armor, shields, and jewelry can contribute. Your attack bonus also contributes to your chance of hitting. Your strength level increases your maximum damage, and it can also unlock a few weapons. With level 1 strength, a bronze sword has a max hit of 1, but at 99, it hits up to 12. Your strength bonus is an important one, and this contributes to your max hit as well. This mostly comes from your weapon, but can also come from some armor and other pieces of equipment. It is important to prioritize your strength bonus, because in some cases at higher levels, every 4 strength bonus can contribute to a new max hit. Leveling your defense decreases how often an enemy can hit you. It does not decrease the amount of damage you take per hit. It only reduces the enemy's accuracy. If you had level 1 defense and no armor, a hill giant has an 87% chance of hitting you, but with 99 defense and no armor, the hill giant's accuracy is now 16%. Your defense level works alongside your defense bonuses, where having a higher defense bonus can greatly lower the enemy's accuracy. Your defense bonus can be found in the equipment stats interface, and defense mostly comes from armor, alongside other equipment like jewelry. Using hill giants as an example again, if you have level 30 defense with nothing equipped, the hill giants have an accuracy of 45%, whereas with 30 defense wearing full adamant, their accuracy goes down to 15%. So your armor can greatly improve your defense, which is why upgrading your setup really matters. And I would recommend upgrading your setup at ApexGamingPCs.com. They stock a wide range of computers, with their setups being fully customizable, and their PCs are built and shipped out of the USA. One of their best sellers, the Apex Silver build, is an affordable setup for OSRS and many other games, with a Ryzen 5 CPU and an RTX 5050 graphics card. But for those looking for a bit more power, Apex has a wide range of options, including the Apex Streamer Plus build. Apex Gaming PCs recently introduced a range of gaming laptops for sale as well, with GPUs up to the 5080 at reasonable prices. They also have easy financing options available across their entire range. So to check out Apex, head over to ApexGamingPCs.com or click the link down in the description and use the coupon code THEO to save on your order. Thanks to Apex for sponsoring this video. So let's get into the gear progression for melee. I'll start with weaponry, then I'll talk about armor. I've broken these down into 3 sections. There's weapons for training attack, strength, then defense. At a low attack level, using the best scimitar you can is usually going to be your best bet. It ranges all the way up to the best attack weapons in the game, including the Blade of Seldor, the Grazi Rapier, the Inquisitor's Mace, the Noxious Halberd, and the Soul Reaper Axe. Those are the best weapons for training your attack, each with their own unique use cases. A notable new weapon, the Archon Blade, is a decent weapon for attack between levels 60 and 70, and this is rewarded from the Final Dawn quest. But if you don't have many quests done, you can use a Dragon Sword straight from the Grand Exchange. Now for strength, the start is the same up until level 70. And a whip can't give strength bonus primarily, so you're left with using an Abyssal Dagger or an Abyssal Bludgeon. Overall, using an Abyssal Dagger with an Avernic Defender is pretty close to the Bludgeon. With training defense, you can use the same weapons as the attack section, and a whip does have a defense option, but there are more weapons for defense that use different combat styles, like there's Chinchompas, which actually provide the fastest defense XP in the game. Or there's Bursting with Magic, which can also give a lot of XP on defensive mode. So that was weapon progression. Now let's talk about armor, and I've split these into every equipment slot. When choosing armor and equipment, for melee, your attack bonus can be useful, although your strength bonus is the priority. Defense and prayer bonuses are also important in some cases, and I'll talk more about those shortly. Starting with the head slot, and the best in slot here is the Torva Helm, providing +8 strength. That's very expensive though, so alternatively, the Oathplate or Nader's Knot Face Guard both give +6 strength. In the torso slot, the Obsidian Plate Body is your minimum, although it does have a 60 defense requirement. It's worth noting that Oathplate also gives a / attack bonus. In the leg slot, it's once again Torva at the top, but this time we have a 1 defense item, the Fremenic Kilt. This is available to Pewers, but it does cost 4 mil. In the boot slot, we have the new Avernic Treads, capable of a +6 strength bonus. There's also the newish Arania boots, with a +4 strength bonus and no defense requirement. For gloves, the best in slot still remains as the Ferocious Gloves, with a huge +14 strength bonus. You need full completion of Dragon Slayer 2 to get those, and there is of course the Barrows Gloves as well. In the shield slot, the Obsidian Shield and the Antler Guard both give the same strength as a Rune Defender. Then the Dragon Defender and Avernic are much better than those. The Antler Guard has no defense requirement and is a fairly new offhand item. For capes, there's the Mixed Hide Cape with 50 defense, which gives a +1 strength bonus. Although the Fire Cape is pretty achievable for most players, but the Infernal Cape can take months to get. In your ring slot, the Altor Ring is the best to use, although it costs a lot, but the next best is the Berserker Ring Imbued, where you can imbue it at either the Nightmare Zone, at Soul Wars, or at the PvP arena. And finally, the necklace slot, where the fairly new Amulet of Rancor is best in slot. This requires 90 hit points to wear, so second best is the Torture, going down to the Glory or an Amulet of Strength. Next, I'm going to talk about armor sets for certain situations, starting off with prayer bonus armor. With 0 requirements, you can wear Monk's Robes, which give +11 prayer bonus. With 40 prayer, you can wear the Vestment, Capes, and Mitres for extra bonus. bonuses, and Proselyte after the Slug Menace quest is noteworthy, but the best in slot is Sunfire Armour, requiring 60 prayer and 40 defense. It has no quest requirements and you can buy it straight off the Grand Exchange. Now let's talk about Tank Armour. And this is armor with high defensive bonuses, starting with melee and range defense. Justice Sharp provides the highest defense in the game for both of those attack styles, although Torva isn't too far behind and also gives strength bonus. Now in terms of magical defense, it's a bit different. You'll want to use these armor sets with bossing and on Slayer tasks like Bloodvelds. Missouri is the best for magical defense, and despite Armadil giving high defensive stats, Armadil has negative melee attack bonuses, which makes it not the greatest when using melee. Void is a noteworthy one as well, giving high magical defense. Now I'm going to show you the pathways to level 99 attack, strength, and defense, and afterwards I'll go into depth about each method. I've broken down the pathways into the fastest, the AFK, profitable, and then I'll talk about Slayer, bossing, and free to play. So starting off, the fastest way to 99. And questing is the fastest way to level your attack and strength from level 1, but alternatively, the Gemstone Crab can be a decent low-level training option. Then there's Scurrius, the Nightmare Zone, and Pest Control as the 3 best training methods. But there's also using the Dinh's Bulwark special attack with energy transfer, and that's how you get the fastest XP in the game. At all defense levels, the fastest XP possible is done by using Chinchompas on defensive mode. Now next, the AFK pathway to 99, and here you can stick to crabs from 1 to 99, where sand, ammonite, and the gemstone crabs are your best option. But at around level 50, the nightmare zone becomes viable, then Naguas at level 60, and there's also bandits for AFK training, and they're my favorite method. Or there's also Firewatch sentinels for some AFK combat money making. There's also ways to AFK Slayer, and that's a great way to train your combats. In terms of profitable methods, there's a range of monsters available, and I'll talk about all of these in the profitable section of this video. There's bosses like Vorkarth or Vardorvis, and some other methods like zombie pirates or defeating revenants. I'll also discuss Slayer, since it's one of, if not the best way to train your combat. By achieving 99 Slayer, you can expect to be near 99s in most of your combat stats. And after that, I'll talk about free-to-play training, including methods like Ogress Warriors, Hill Giants, or the Stronghold of Security Spiders for AFK. Alright, starting with low-level training. And with the recent addition of the Gemstone Crab, low-level training has become more relaxed if you like AFKing. However, questing is the absolute fastest way off Tutorial Island, and in particular, completing the Waterfall quest takes you from 1 attack and strength to level 30 in both. There are a number of quests you can do that give a considerable boost to your combats at a low level, including the Grand Tree, Fight Arena, Vampire Slayer, and more. On the screen, I've broken down the best quests to do from a low level for each attack style. But for those that want to train your combat normally, there's a number of options available from a low level. If you want to get straight into it after Tutorial Island, fighting chickens until you can hit a 3 is a decent low level target, but personally, I would recommend making your way to the Grand Exchange and purchasing every type of scimitar from iron through to rune. Then grab some stat boosting items like an amulet of strength, a combat bracelet, and combat potions. Then you should make your way to either the gemstone crab, rock crabs, or sand crabs. Generally, the gemstone crab is the best option, with no competition and constantly being in combat, although rock and sand crabs are less crowded these days, and they have the added benefit of being able to reset your AFK at any time. To get to the gemstone crab, you need to complete the Children of the Sun quest. Then to get there, you first make your way to Civitas, then make your way west and north to the mountain guide. Follow him and then make your way down south to the rowboat. Then travel to Castori and run north. At the gemstone crab, it moves every 10 minutes. And to get to the next spot, you click the nearby cave and it always takes you to the next active location. To get to sand crabs, make your way to the southern shores of Kuran. And a fast way there is using a house teleport to Kuran. Or you can run there by taking the boat from Port Sarim. There are multiple 3 crab locations you can train at, and you just stay for 10 minutes, then when they stop attacking, you run out of view to reset the aggression. For rock crabs, you can run there from Camelot by running north, and you can go either side of the Relica town. For rock crabs, there are less 3 crab locations. It's time for the fastest training methods section, and in this part I'll cover every fast method for training your combat. So these are the methods I'm showing in order, starting with crabs and ending with chinning. Now I've already spoken about crabs, but I wanted to give a more thorough guide. There's 5 types of crabs: rock, sand, swamp, ammonite, and the gemstone crab. In terms of requirements, you need Priest in Peril for swamp, Bone Voyage for ammonite crabs, and you need to finish Children of the Sun for gemstone. In terms of gear, crabs have low defense, so you should prioritize a fast-hitting, accurate weapon like scimitars. To get the fastest XP rates at all types of crabs, you always want to be using combat boosting potions, as well as stat boosting prayers up to piety. Overall, it takes at least 200 hours to go from 1 to 99 in one combat stat at crabs, but I'd recommend only training until around 50 since there's better methods available. Like at level 50, you can be somewhat effective at defeating Scurrius, and with Ratbane weaponry, you get increased XP rates. You'd want at least 50 attack and 50 strength before starting. And here's a few example low-level gear setups for Scurry. Ratbane weaponry is useful at Scurrius, since you can attack the smaller rats faster for better XP. To get to Scurrius, it's in Varrock sewers at the northern end, and when you get there, you should enter a private instance, so that it's the solo-only version of Scurrius, and that's much easier to kill. Scurrius attacks with melee, and also has a magic and ranged attack that you should pray for. In terms of XP rates, it is possible to get over 100k in combat at level 70s, with upwards of 150k an hour being possible. At around level 50s in attack and strength, you can also partake in the Nightmare Zone. This is where you refight bosses from quests, allowing you to constantly stay in combat, plus with a range of buffs and boosts. At 50s in the combats, you should start a hard customized rumble, and you should aim to select these bosses. It includes bosses from quests like What Lies Below, Lost City, and Tree Gnome Village. You should be using absorption potions, but if you haven't unlocked those yet, you should go into the Nightmare Zone with Protect from Melee, and you should select melee only bosses. And on the screen right now, I'm showing all of the melee only bosses that you could use. Within the Nightmare Zone, the bosses have the same defense level, whether they're on normal or hard mode. So selecting hard mode is better since they have more hit points and give more points. Within the Nightmare Zone, you can lower your health to 1 with a rock cake or a locator orb. Then with absorption potions, you can stay safe for a very long time, since the monsters can only hit a 1 when you're on 1 hit point. There's also overloads in the Nightmare Zone, which further boost your XP rates. While partaking, you should always be on the lookout for the Power Surge power-up, and that's the yellow light orb that appears. This constantly regenerates your special attack, and when paired with a weapon like Dragon Claws or the Granite Maul, you can really boost your overall XP rates. With 50s in the combat stats, you could bring armor like Full Void, as well as a Granite Hammer and a Granite Maul for specking. In terms of XP rates, you can expect around 50k an hour, with 50s in the combat stats, and it does rise quickly from there. Like at level 60s in the combat stats, you can wear full obsidian and obsidian weaponry. Obsidian armor gives a 10% damage and accuracy boost when using obsidian weaponry, and wearing a berserker necklace adds another 20% damage boost. With this setup, you can get 70k to 100k per hour at a fairly low combat level, and paired with Dragon Claws for special attacks and overloads, plus prayers, you can get some of the best XP rates in the game. Then once you reach around 80s in the combats, and especially once you reach 92 plus hit points, you should switch to full Darox for training. Darox is great in the Nightmare Zone since you're already sitting on low hit points, and the set effect of Darox is dealing extra damage with lower hit points. If you're AFKing a lot, it's best not to use overloads if you're using Darox, since it replenishes 50 health after 5 minutes. But overall, using Darox mixed with Dragon Claws is one of the best ways to get the most XP out of the Nightmare Zone. It's possible to get well over 100k per hour with Darox, although wearing full Bandos or other high strength boosting armor is also a great way to train. The next method is Sulfur Naguas, and these require completion of the Perilous Moons quest, which requires 48 Slayer. They are great for training, since they have -4 flat armor, which essentially means you deal 4 more damage per successful hit, so fast hitting weapons or even double hitting weapons are the best ones to use, like the Dual Max. If using combat boosting potions plus piety, you can get upwards of 170k XP per hour here, and that makes it one of the fastest mid-level training methods. Another incredibly fast combat method is partaking in Pest Control, specifically with combat achievements completed. This is one of the fastest methods since you get extra Pest Control points with more combat achievements completed. You get 1 extra point for completing the easy combat achievements, all the way up to 3 points extra for the hard tier, and you convert the points for experience, and you get the most XP for handing in 100 points at a time, and as a whole, it's possible to get up to 200k in a single combat skill per hour. For Pest Control, you should aim to always be in combat, and that's to make sure you get the best XP rates. And now, the fastest method in the game, which is very hard to maneuver, is Dinh's Bulwark Energy Transferring. This is the fastest method since you can constantly attack up to 10 enemies at once by using the special attack, and your friends or ults can regenerate your special attack. It's possible to get up to 420,000 XP doing this, but it's only possible to get attack XP with a Dinh's Bulwark. Since it requires ults or friends to do this method, it's not a viable method at all, but it is the fastest attack method in the game. Now, a method that's about on par with that is using Chinchompas on defensive mode to train your defense. With that, it's possible to get up to 400k XP per hour, and you get 400k in range at the same time. There's many viable chinning locations, including skeletal monkeys or maniacal monkeys, but there's also monsters like dust devils, necreels, or smoke devils, which provide some return on your investment. If you would like to learn more about chinning, I did a complete chinning guide in my 1 to 99 range guide, so I've linked that in the description below. So those were the fastest methods in the game, but a lot of people, including me, prefer an AFK training method. So here are the best AFK combat training spots. Now, I've spoken about crabs a lot in this video, but specifically about AFKing at crabs, resetting is easier at the gemstone crab, but you can't reset whenever you want, so gemstone is better for things like mobile, whereas the other crabs are great if you have smaller AFK intervals. At mid to high levels, it's possible to AFK for a long time in the Nightmare Zone. With just absorptions, you can AFK for 20 minutes. With absorptions plus overloads, it's also 20 minutes, but it's recommended to check back every 5 minutes for the overload. With prayer potions and protection prayers, you can AFK for 5 to 10 minutes depending on your prayer bonus. With full Guthans, it's possible to AFK for 20 minutes without the use of any potions. But do keep in mind, if you AFK for longer than 20 minutes, you will die pretty quickly. Now, my favorite AFK combat method, and I used this to get 200 million defense XP, and that's training at bandits. With a god item, these bandits stay aggressive forever, meaning you can AFK for 20 minutes with no problems at all. With full Guthans, you can AFK for 20 and just wiggle your mouse to reset the AFK. With full Justiciar, it's possible to AFK for 10 to 20 minutes before you might need to heal. But if you add an Elysian, this method becomes very relaxed, meaning you don't have to eat at all. There's a number of places to stand, where the best places, in my experience, are found on the eastern side of the camp. You can bring a Sara Godsword to heal every 5 minutes, or alternatively, you can bring full Guthans to heal. The main reason why I like bandits is you can log in and log out freely. You don't have to reset the AFK every time. Now, Naguas can be considered a very fast semi-AFK training method, where you can AFK for up to 10 minutes at a time. They're probably the fastest method on the AFK list, but you do need a bit more focus at times. Vyres are an AFK moneymaker which give melee XP. You could AFK these for 5 to 10 minutes, but if you get a blood shard drop, it might get taken by someone else. So you can AFK for 60 seconds at a time here before your drops appear, while getting about 600k GP per hour depending on your gear. And Slayer is an important combat training method for almost every account type, where there are 4 main ways to AFK combat with Slayer. You can use goading potions, which make monsters aggressive for 6 minutes at a time. You can fight aggressive monsters on your Slayer task, and they stay aggressive for 10 minutes. You can use a cannon while slaying, and this lets you AFK for at least 5 minutes at a time. And with the higher combat achievements, you can load up more cannonballs, extending your AFK times. Or you can attack multiple monsters in multi-combat and then sit there AFK while you kill them all for 3 to 5 minutes of AFK. A broad range of moneymakers utilize the melee skills. With 40s in the combat stats, you can safely partake in fighting zombie pirates. And with the medium wilderness achievement diary completed, you get far more loot there, about 1 mil an hour. With 50s in the combats, you could start being good at revenants, which are a common PK spot, but they can also make millions an hour. Then with 70s in the combats, I mentioned you can partake in Vyres. With 80s in the combat stats, your options for bossing really opens up. Like with 80s, you can fight demonic gorillas, which currently provide over 4 mil profit per hour. Or there's the Gauntlet, which can make at least 3 mil an hour doing Corrupted. Or Vorkath, providing high XP rates while giving upwards of 3 mil an hour. There's the Dagonoth Kings, Spindle, Vardorvis, Duke, or with the changes to Halberds, you can now defeat Zulrah or Armadillo with melee too. And then one step further, with 90s in the combat stats, you can partake in even harder challenges, with even better rewards, like the Colosseum, Theatre of Blood, Yama, or Fasani's Nightmare. Now, while training your combat through bossing and at various training spots is a great way to train, in reality, the most efficient way to level your combat stats is through Slayer. This is because you're training multiple skills at once, and if you train your combat stats too high before doing Slayer, you'll go past level 99 before reaching 99 Slayer. When going for the Slayer skill cape, you can expect to reach the high 90s in attack, strength, defense, and range, as well as a fairly high magic level. So in total, you gain about 40 million combat XP overall from 99 Slayer. If you're interested in learning more about Slayer, I've linked my updated Slayer training guide in the description. Alright, the final section of this guide. I'm briefly covering free to play, and on the screen is the recommended pathway from 1 to 99s for free to play. Monks are a great low level option since they can heal you, and the frogs in Lumbridge Swamp are decent for low levels. At higher levels, there's flesh crawlers and giant spiders for AFK training, which will be your best options in free to play. And notably, you can fight Obor or Briar Fighter, and Briar Fighter is potentially your ticket out of free to play, since it has a valuable drop. Anyways, that's my complete and updated combat training guide. If you missed anything, there are detailed timestamps down in the description below. If you learnt something today, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more old school content. To upgrade your setup, definitely check out ApexGamingPCs.com and use the coupon code THEO to get a discount. Thanks for watching.